She was talking to someone who said, I heard one shot. She heard someone who said, I know there were two shots. We heard another person who said, I heard 5 shots. Keep in mind, this is very early on. I want to remind our viewers, this was only about 45, maybe 50 minutes ago that this shot or shots, again, trying to work on confirming that, happened at Yorkdale. And again, as Carmen said, likely there should be bigger priorities for security at this meantime, but they're trying to move us from the property. You can still see we have cameras there, so we can still show you the situation out there as an evacuation of the mall continues. I want to also give you the latest update from Toronto Police Operations in terms of the latest tweet from them. This is what it says. Yorkdale Shopping Centre is in lockdown. Nobody being let in. People being assisted to leave. Officers canvassing for witnesses and video from witnesses, mall and stores. No injuries. Again, second time they've tweeted no injuries. The east side of the mall is the location of the incident. And again, police promising there will be more information to follow. So again, it's the east side of the mall. That seems to be the area. The general consensus, again, based on the early witness accounts that we've been getting, is that it was near the new Starbucks, as it's known at Yorkdale there, which is close to the Nordstrom store as well there. That appeared to be where it was. But again, a range of people suggesting there were either 1, 2, maybe even up to 5 shots fired inside Yorkdale Mall. And as Nathan...
within the mall, that mall will remain in lockdown. So in other words, nobody can get into the mall. And people getting out will be escorted out. Keep in mind that the suspects are still at large, so that mall needs to be cleared as well. So at some point in time, the police will go through the mall to make sure that those suspects still aren't in there hiding somewhere.
And what about those suspects, Steve? I mean, they put out a description fairly quick. They're very peripheral, brief descriptions of the suspects, the people they're looking for. But what do you make of the fact that they were able to get those descriptions so quickly? What does that tell you about the speed and the ability of this investigation to get that information so quickly?
Well, there are a couple of things. Number one, there was plenty of witnesses in the mall that saw that, so they were able to give a description of the suspects. And I can tell you that Yorkdale security has tremendous security cameras, so it would not have taken the security long to have a look at that footage as well to get that information released. So that security system at Yorkdale Mall is probably one of the best there is, and also all the shoppers that were in the mall at the time. So there's a lot of different people able to provide the descriptions of the suspects.
Now, Steve, you and I have sat here in the studios at 299 Queen Street West, for the past 6 months or so, talking about shootings, talking about situations where shootings have happened in the city of Toronto, and you've talked a lot about the suggestion here that people take shots when they have opportunities to potentially take out a rival or something. We were talking to our public safety analyst, Chris Lewis. He's suggesting that's what, to him, his sense is this is likely a gang-related type shooting.
Yeah, it's very early on, clearly, but if you were to ask me my opinion based on what I've seen in the past with regards to how these things play out, that's what it would sound like to me. Now, if there was one shot, it could be an accidental discharge, where somebody takes out a gun, you show some sort of force and the gun goes off. But when you start to hear multiple shots, that suggests to me that there was a target in mind that somebody was shot at, and it's usually a crime of opportunity.
Okay, Steve, hang tight for a second. We've actually got, we've reached on the phone Crystal. She's an employee of a store inside Yorkdale who was inside the mall at the time. Crystal, thanks for calling in. What can you tell us about what you heard and or saw just, within the last hour?
So we were just working, and then my coworkers and the customers started hearing gunshots, and everyone rushed to the back of our store. We locked the front and back of our store and hid in our personal washroom with maybe around 11 people in a very small washroom, and we turned off the light, and it was just crazy. Everyone was freaking out.
So where are you now, Crystal?
Remain calm, and we were calling the police trying to get updated with small security.
Right. So whereabouts are you now, Crystal? Crystal, can you hear me? Crystal, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, so where are you now, Crystal?
Just on Dufferin Street, walking away from the mall.
Okay, trying to get as far away, understandably, as you can. Now, how close is your store to what we understand from people we've heard from is that this may have happened near the Starbucks, near the Nordstrom.
Yeah.
How close was your store to that?
Maybe just like 5 to 7 stores down from Starbucks.
Okay, so quite close by. And did you hear 1 shot, 2 shot, more shots? I don't want to put numbers into your head. What did you hear? What do you remember hearing?
My coworker said that they heard 2 shots.
Okay. And then I know you went to the back of the store quickly, but there's probably a bit of a human instinct to turn around and look Did you see any people running, any people injured? Police have said there were no injuries, but sometimes you never know. What might you have seen?
All we saw was people running away from the Starbucks, trying to evacuate, and we were so busy just running to the back of the store, locking all the doors, and making sure that we were safe.
So how long were you, Crystal, locked in that washroom with, the 10 or 11 other people in those close quarters there? How long were you there, and how long was it before mall security came and said, or police maybe said, okay, it's now safe to come out and let's get out of the mall? And how long was that?
So we were stuck in the washroom for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and we were trying to call the police. They said that they haven't found the suspect yet, and we were waiting for police to start banging on our doors. But the issue is our washroom is all the way in the back, so we can't hear anything. So I actually had to go to the front by myself to make sure that there was police, and thankfully I did find police and people evacuating. So I called the rest of the people in the back to come out.
What's going through your mind at that point when you're walking from the back of your store, from that washroom where you probably felt at least a little bit more secure? You're walking through the store towards the front of the store.
Walk into.
What's going through your mind?
Man.
I was scared because our front of the store is all glass, so you can clearly see what is going on inside. So I was actually sneaking up to the front by going around the racks of our store, like kind of crawling to make sure that it was safe.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I didn't see anyone. There was only one police on the floor making sure everyone was getting out, and then I saw that there were more people coming.
I'm guessing you felt a little more safe once you saw that, but still rattled.
Sorry?
I said, I'm guessing you felt a little safer once you saw a few police officers, outside your store, but you still must have been quite rattled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty scary, but it was reassuring that there was police around.
Certainly. Now, Crystal, do you train, or is there training at your store for this, or does the mall, ever come around and talk to people, mall security, about, what to do in events of emergencies, whether it's a shooting or fire or otherwise?
No, there's rarely any shooting at Yorkdale. There's more fire, but it's kind of just like fake alarms that go off by teenagers. So used to it by ignoring it.
Yeah.
But once we heard the gunshots, we knew that something was wrong. So our first initial reaction was to hide in the back.
Now, Crystal, this is the Thursday before back to school. We're just days away from that. Was today one of the busier days? Like, is this an above average day at the mall in terms of the numbers of people, the volume of traffic through there?
Yes, it was very busy today with a lot of back to school shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of people and foot traffic in the mall.
Yeah, no kidding. It must have just been absolutely packed. So you're safe now. You're walking away from the mall. I'm assuming the rest of your staff, you've all just kind of gotten away from the scene. Did you talk to police as you were leaving? Did you give any kind of a statement?
No, the police just wanted to make sure that no one was injured. They said the mall was clear to evacuate. We didn't need to run, just walk.
Right.
Safely out the mall, yeah.
Okay, Crystal, listen, we appreciate we're glad that you're safe. We appreciate that you got in touch with us, and thanks for sharing your story about what happened there inside Yorkdale Mall this afternoon. And we'll hang on to your number just in case we need to get back to you. But again, Crystal, thanks for calling and sharing that detail there.
No problem.
Okay, so in the meantime, let's, if we can, reconnect with our crime specialist, Steve Ryan. Hopefully, Steve, you could hear that call there and hear the description that she had there, Steve, of going to the back of their store, basically shutting the washroom door, turning out the lights with essentially 11 other people. That would seem to be the right thing to do in a situation like this, eh, Steve?
It would be, Nick. That is all part of a lockdown where you would lock doors, turn off lights, and stay away from being seen, basically, is what the whole goal is. The priority of the police right now is to clear that area of the mall, make sure nobody has been injured, and get the suspect's description out. So, I heard you asking her if she's talking to the police with regards to what she saw. That's something that the police have put together as part of this whole puzzle. But right now, the priority is getting the suspect description out, hopefully identifying who those suspects are, and making sure that they're not in the mall and that nobody's hurt. Once that's all done, then they'll start obtaining the witness statement and putting things together as to what exactly happened.
And I mean, that is an enormous job, isn't it, Steve? I mean, there would have been thousands of people inside the mall. You heard Crystal saying how busy it was, with back-to-school shoppers today. They're not going to take statements from everybody, surely.
They will take statements from everybody, but it's going to take some time. So what I expect will happen is over the next few days, they'll put out a call to the through the media, to the public, to contact to contact them, but everybody that was in that mall that may have seen something, they are absolutely going to want to talk to, but clearly they can't do that right now. So they have to prioritize what they're doing, and right now it's to get the suspect's description out and make sure nobody's been injured. That's the key.
Right. The mall, I believe, closes at 9, maybe 10 tonight. Would you expect that anybody is going to get back in there this evening, this afternoon, or do you think this is just going to be a crime scene and likely won't reopen until tomorrow?
I would suggest that the mall won't be open tonight. It'll be a crime scene. They'll go through and try to locate those bullets that were discharged. Get those so they find out what type of firearm was used and any damage that was done to the place as well. And plus, as I said, clear that place to make sure there's a lot of places to hide in that big mall.
Yeah.
They've got to clear that mall and make sure that nobody's actually hiding out in that mall.
Now, Steve, in terms of updates from police about this,
Sure,
obviously,
probably
a lot
come
of
out
people
with the
who
crowd
probably know
already.
somebody who's in that mall or may have been shopping in
Yeah,
that
so
mall.
we'll pick
at
him
some
up on
point today.
camera.
When would you expect that we're going to hear a little bit more from police about, you know, the scenario here? What's the latest in their investigation?
It's
And why you
crazy
say this,
though, man.
Steve, I'm not sure if you're
Crazy.
watching, but we can see police sort of combing through some
Oh
of the
my
bushes
God.
on the property of Yorkdale here, as you know, yourself or Chris Lewis have said, you know, looking for potentially discarded weapons or perhaps more evidence.
Yeah, that's what they'll be. On the outside, they'll be going through looking for discard or any sort of evidence. They'll maybe help them identify who those the shooter or shooters were. With regards to updates, I would imagine in a few hours the police will update the public again, just to say that, you know, there still is no injury. So that's going to be the big concern for people, is knowing that they've got friends and family in that mall. And the good news now is that there are no injuries. So the police will continue to do that. Because I mean, on the off chance that somebody got hit by a stray bullet and ran to a bathroom or ran somewhere and then collapsed, this is what they want to make sure has not happened. And they haven't found anything like that as of yet. That's why I expect the updates will be in the next little while.
Right, that is a good point too, because again, just the size and scope of the mall and the different areas where people could go, that of course you're right, if somebody was hit and was, you know, trying to either get out of the line of fire again or you know, just get to somewhere where they felt a little more safe, that could take some time. So you can never be too sure about these things, right, Steve? They got to confirm all this stuff before they can really provide the update.
That's right, Nick. They need to basically turn that mall inside and out right now to make sure that there are no victims and that there are no suspects in that mall before they'll open it up against the public.
What kind of preparation, Steve, would go into this in terms of police, you know, responding to a situation of a shooting at a shopping mall as large and as busy as Yorkdale on a day like today? I mean, is this something that police would be either reviewing or be training for on a, you know, an annual or be perhaps even more frequent basis? What's the background on that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. There is ongoing training with regards to shooting in public places, with regards to active shooters, where the police have to basically attack that shooter and go to where the shooter is. You talk about lockdowns, you're talking about getting officers on scene to make sure that nobody gets back into the mall and nobody leaves without an escort. So that's all things that the police prepare for, and it's all part of what will help them put this case together eventually.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing what appears to be more gun violence in the city of Toronto. Steve, while I've got you on the phone, I just want to kind of update everybody as to the latest information that we do have from Toronto Police. The latest tweet from Toronto Police Operations saying Yorkdale Shopping Centre is in lockdown, nobody being let in, people being assisted to leave, officers canvassing for witnesses and video from witnesses, mall and stores. Again, this tweet says no injuries, but the east side of the mall is the location of the incident, and they say more information to follow. And again, Steve, we understand this happened near the Starbucks, what people are describing to our Carmen Wong, who's on the ground there, as the new Starbucks near the Nordstrom's store, so quite near a very, you know, large department store. Also fascinating to watch right now too, as the parking lot is certainly thinning out from these live shots from Chopper 24. You know, an hour ago, we were looking at a full parking lot here, but that is certainly thinning out quickly. And Steve, I suppose that's probably a good thing for police to get as many people away from the area now safely and in an organized manner.
That's right, Nick. Safely and organized, properly with the information of all those people that are leaving. If they can get that, they try to get as many of those license plates as they could document in the parking lot as well. So these are all things that information that will fall into place eventually. But as I said earlier, the main concern right now is nobody injured, and where are these suspects, who are they, and has that mall been cleared, and let's make sure that they're not inside the mall.
Yeah.
And then all that other information will come together, they'll put that together, and we'll learn that story in a few days, I'm sure, as to
Right.
what transpired.
Steve, how difficult is it, you know, when you're dealing with large crowds of people like this? And again, you know, if there are two suspects, the police have put out two very, very brief suspect descriptions here. Again, you know, the description is incredibly vague, effectively. But how difficult is it? I mean, they could have sort of joined the crowd and leave at the same time as well, right? I mean, they could kind of blend in. Isn't that a concern?
That is a concern. And as far as being part of the group that are locked down or disappearing inside some storage unit
That's
somewhere
what I'm talking about.
Stored and not being seen until the
Probably
sun
come
closes
out
and
with
they
the
see
crowd.
somewhere else and you get a break-in enter alarm sometime tonight when somebody breaks out of the mall.
No.
So these are all things that are very difficult. This is why that whole mall has to be cleared, and this is what the police should be doing right now.
I'm just watching on the monitor right now. It looks like somebody is being wheeled away in a stretcher. I'm not sure if the control room can confirm that there is in fact somebody on that stretcher there. But again, just looking right now, live shot and confirmation, yes,
Yeah,
there is
there's
somebody
somebody
on
there.
that stretcher. You can see they're being loaded into a waiting ambulance here. So that calls into question a little bit about whether or not in fact there are no injuries. Of course, there could be, somebody certainly concerned again. But again, this is the live shot from Chopper 24 above Yorkdale Mall, where again, police looking for two suspects after a shot was fired earlier today. So we're going to actually check in right now with our Christy Bazare, who's at least as close to the mall as she can get right now. Christy, what are you seeing and hearing from your vantage point?
Well, Nick, I just saw an ambulance pull away from here with lights and sirens activated. We don't know right now whether or not this has anything to do with the shooting, if they were indeed leaving from the mall, but we know that we saw that ambulance pull away here, so we will be calling paramedics to try to get more information on that. But right now I'm going to bring in Alexis and Sam, mom and daughter. You ladies were in the mall. They witnessed this shooting. Tell me what you saw and where you were when this happened.
We were just having coffee together, and there was a big bang, and everyone, we assumed it may have been a balloon or something, and we looked over and we just saw a bunch of panic and people running, and we heard a second shot.
Person said big boom.
And then we had to find
Big
cover.
bang.
We ran behind or under a ledge. There was a little girl who was just clenched onto me. I had no idea who this little girl was. There was a mom and her son just falling over me, just to take cover from the gunshots.
Where did you ladies go?
We were kind of under like a little ledge in the dessert store where they make like ice cream and stuff, just literally on the floor, because the whole store is glass, so we just tried to get as low and out of sight as we could.
You described this as complete chaos. When I walked up here, the two of you were hugging. You said there's some images in your mind that they're just going to stay there.
Absolutely. I just, the panic in these children, seeing a child, a little baby in a stroller knocked
I
over.
forget these criminal, man.
Because of the panic that everybody...
Can't take over the world and take over the community them like that, man. I forget rid of them, man.
We
God,
weren't getting out of the mall, so
Man.
it was even more scary.
disgusting, man.
Any of the suspects? Did you see anyone that you think
People
might
go
be
to take them
involved?
kids out to back to school shopping and you have to run from
I heard
gunshot.
people talking, and I kind of saw from the corner there was I don't even know, 20-year-old, something like that, with the cop, and he had him arrested, but they weren't frantic or anything, so I don't think that was him. I feel like they would have gotten him out a lot quicker if it actually was, and he kind of looked like, I don't know what's going on, I don't know. But apparently someone just was pointing at him saying that was him, but clearly not, because last we heard they don't have him yet, but we saw somebody in handcuffs. I don't know if that was a suspect or not, but that's all I saw.
We seemed pretty calm with him.
Yeah, they were,
So,
yeah.
What happened after that? Were you kept in the dash for a while? Did you run out of the mall? What happened immediately following that?
Right after all the bangs, we were still undercover for about 6-7 minutes, and then the store employees started ushering people out. They didn't see us because we were under a ledge, but eventually they came and got us, and so we had to actually run across, which was a very open area, which was the most terrifying for me because I just didn't have, I was scared for her life, my daughter's life. I just didn't know what was going to happen during that run, and I had this little girl with me as well. It was just, yeah.
Were you able to reconnect this girl with her family?
I did. I stayed with her out here until she was with her parents.
You said some of the children, when they even came out here afterward, were not in good shape.
They were sick and scared and shaking like myself. It was just too close for comfort for us.
So for them to go back to school with all that with all that vision in them head, man, that they could lose their life.
Yeah, I'm just like in shock that I've even like experienced experiencing something like this, it just doesn't even, it's like all a blur.
These
I
people
can't,
want
it's
to
just,
fire guns so much. What of them?
crazy
But join the
feeling.
army or something,
You're
man.
not safe anywhere.
Damn.
Do you have to follow up with police now with what you saw? Are you supposed to give a statement? Are you waiting around here for a ride? What happens next time?
Well, we had to leave. All of her belongings, her money,
Wallet and phone and stuff were in there, so
there was no way we could bring it with us.
yeah.
So we're just waiting. I don't know what we're waiting
We're
for.
just-
We're just in a little bit of in shock. So we're just yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for talking to us and for sharing your story with us. And Nick, I want to show you over here as well. We're outside of Nordstrom. You can see the yellow tape that police have put up now along some of the entrances of the wall. They're telling people to get out of the area. When we first arrived just a few minutes ago, this whole section was very, very busy with people. It's starting to thin out now, I think, as they're getting their message across that they don't want people coming to this area. They want it cleared. They want it evacuated. And we're very close to the subway station, which is just to the other side of me here. So you can see that people have been making their way down there, and they are starting to try to leave the area right now to clear out. But many people here are just still confused. They're shocked. They've left their belongings behind, and they're not exactly sure what to do just next. We're going to stay out here for the next while, talking to people and getting more stories for you. I will be reporting back to you shortly. Back to you for now.
Okay, Christy, thanks so much. That was a really great interview with this mother and daughter combination there. I want to also tell our viewers here, paramedics now telling us they are assessing 3 people, not necessarily gunshot victims here, but these are people that were injured in one way or another during the evacuation. So we did show you a short time ago someone in a stretcher being wheeled to an ambulance. Again, this does not appear to be a gunshot victim, but rather somebody who may have been injured during the evacuation. Also, another update here, Yorkdale, the mall itself tweeting, following today's incident, we will be closed for the rest of the day to allow police to investigate. Yorkdale is secure, and we are cooperating with police to safely evacuate the center. We expect to open as scheduled tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and they are directing all questions to the Toronto Police Twitter at TPS Operations. Carmen Wong has probably sorted out her situation there on the ground at Yorkdale. She's joining us once again with the latest. Carmen, what more have you learned here?
Okay, Nick, we are still being asked by security right now to leave. Excuse me, sir. We are just here to talk. We're not even on property. We're across the sidewalk.
This is all of Yorkdale.
Okay.
This is all of
Nick,
Yorkdale. You can. Just be respectful. That's all I'm saying.
we are being respectful. There are other
It's all
team
rules,
police here.
but it's all rules. It's private property, and you know this.
Nick, let me send this back to you for a moment while I sort this out.
Okay, yeah, Carmen Wong.
Oh, they just feel bad because the lady was hitting out on the security that they didn't do a good job of getting the people them out. They're just mad for that.
Minutes ago now, we understand it was close to the Starbucks, the new Starbucks, as we said, near the Nordstrom store there. Again, no reports of any injuries. Paramedics have been assessing 3 people injured during the evacuation, and again, the mall is going to be evacuated, closed for the rest of the day for police to investigate. Again, police have released very brief descriptions of the 2 shooters, of the people, the suspects they're looking for. One, a male black in his 20s wearing a black hoodie and blue jeans, so these are relatively limited descriptions. The second, male mixed, according to Toronto Police, 20s, skinny, 5'9". This is the suspect that's carrying a black handgun. And again, witnesses are being asked to call 32 Division. That is 416-808-3200. So again, that's the situation. Again, Carmen Wong running into some static from the mall security there in terms of our ability to speak to eyewitnesses and get you the story of what exactly happened there at Yorkdale this afternoon. We've, of course, spoken to some of them on the phone this afternoon. But again, the mall is being evacuated. Nathan Downer, you and I are following this very closely. I'll hand it back over to you in the meantime.
What you saw or heard?
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
I was a news anchor in the U.S. for 21 years. I was a reporter there also. This stuff happens in the U.S. So we're here visiting. We had no concept that it could happen in Canada because it's such a big country. I turned around and heard
There's always
right
copycats.
by me.
Happening in the US, them have to come over here with it or want to try it. Always have the copycats.
Agent in the U.S. We just made it, we were very close to an exit, but it was just, imagine a stampede of moms and crying babies and kids just running toward exit for safety. It was pretty surreal because this stuff does not happen in Canada.
Wow, you are correct. Now, you probably know that no one injured, at least no reports yet. And paramedics did treat one person not connected to any gunfire. Where are you now?
We have left them all. It was about a 30-minute weight of all these cars trying to get out, and there were fire trucks and there were police cars, and just mass panic, and everybody didn't have any idea what was going on. The alarm was sounding inside the mall. We ran into a Sport Check, one of the stores inside Yorkdale, and there was no protocol. They didn't know what was going on, and thank goodness Sport Check had an exit in there, so we weren't stuck, and there was not a lockdown. But I did hear from some other tweets that people were locked inside the Rolex store for safety.
That's right. Now, while you were going through this ordeal, did you see any police officers, any activity from them?
We saw a lot of police cars driving by, but thank goodness we were near an exit. So we were about 20 seconds from the door, and we ran out. We didn't see any officers running inside or anything, but we had already made it to our car. But the mall was moderately packed today, and everybody just in a sheer panic made their way to safety, and it was just, I've never seen anything like that in my 21 years as a news anchor in the U.S.
Well, where in the U.S. did you work?
I was a news anchor in Seattle for 12 years, in Houston, Texas for 5, and in various other states. But this is just a norm in America. It's sadly and
Wow.
tragically.
Wow.
Sandy's Hook.
Hear that though? That's the norm in the
Canada is an
U.S.
amazing country, and just the gun laws here are wide.
Oh,
So
boy.
we think it was gunshots.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and most would say it still is safe here, although, of course, we do see what happens in the U.S. We always follow those stories. When you were there going through all this, did you see anyone that appeared to be hurt in any way?
No, we just saw a lot of people running, elderly people making their way as fast as they could, moms just dragging their children behind them, and just finding a way to get out of the way. But it was just
terrified. And then as soon as I had heard that we needed to leave, we all had evacuated through the back door down the stairs.
You distinctly remember hearing 2 shots?
2 shots, exactly.
And then what's this been like for you guys? I know now you're standing out here waiting because you don't know what's next.
We're all very shaken up and we don't know what to do. I can't even leave, she can't leave because all of our stuff is inside and we have no means of TTC or any taxi service because it's overcrowded over here. It's a lot less crowded now because the crowd has dispersed, but it's just, I'm still shaking right now.
And you believe this happened basically right outside the store in the hallway?
I thought initially it was in front of the Starbucks, and then I spoke with somebody who worked at Moose Knuckle, and they told us that it had happened right in front of their store, which is directly in front of our store. So if the shooter had done anything, he could have easily come into one of our stores and requested us to give him our money or anything.
I'm going to bring in Adilvia, the store manager. Adilvia, this must be an unbelievable scenario for you. Do you even get training on what to do in a situation like this?
I was just going to mention that I think that for future, unfortunately, events, that the mall should do a little better job of informing everybody.
That's true.
They should have a prepared plan, right? For
You're the second person that say that.
We proceeded to act just because we heard the shots by other stores who have not been aware of the situation. So I think that there should definitely be a policy or a protocol to be followed just because we didn't know what to do, right? And all of us reacted differently. So yeah, it was just very unfortunate, and I'm very happy that nobody, so far we haven't heard that nobody was injured. But I think that definitely should be a protocol in place in terms of security and how we should react and how should we even exit the stores, because at one point Desi and I tried to close the gates, but then we were told no. So in our heads, we needed to keep everybody locked in, and we even thought about going to the freezer, and there was at least 2 mothers that I can recall being in the store with babies, and everybody's crying. So it was a moment of chaos, definitely.
How are you doing with all of this now?
I'm actually doing well, but it's just the circumstances. I just keep thinking that something worse could have happened.
Right.
Yeah, I honestly thought at one point that the person had come into the store, and my head was I don't know how to keep these people secure. I just kept looking at Destiny and kind of drawing strength from her, and yeah, it was just, yeah.
Did you also hear 2 shots?
I heard 2 shots, and then when I finally, because I froze, and I finally kind of, gained conscious of what was going on, I heard another shot, but just kind of distant, maybe perhaps by Nordstrom. So I didn't know if it was the security guard who had apprehended the person,
Did you see anyone arrested?
No, I just saw the security guard, you know, they were in the radio, they were calling, and then I saw them running.
And you didn't see anyone that may have looked like a suspect?
No, I didn't. At the moment, I was actually in the back of the store. I was in the office making an order, so no, I didn't see anything. I just heard it. I heard distinctly, and because of the country where I'm from, I knew there were gunshots, so yeah.
Even despite all this chaos, no one was hurt, no one, I know the stroller fell, but that child was hurt, wasn't hurt, everything is...
Yeah, and it was just a terrifying moment, honestly, and I'm very happy that everybody's safe.
What are you guys waiting on now out here?
Right now, I am actually just talked to my boss, and I'm trying to figure out ways how we can lock the store. And at least I want, because there are perishable items, and I'm just worried that things are, you know, for safety and health reasons. I want to make sure the store is okay because of the fact that it's closed. And I just want to lock it down, and you know, there's people with their purses, and you know, this lady has her stroller and her baby things, so I'm just trying to make sure that she's okay and the baby's okay.
All right, thank you so much. I know you still have work to do here, so as you can see, it's still very busy out here, not quite the commotion that was here earlier this afternoon, but police are still on the scene, very active. This investigation is ongoing, and a lot of the people here are just waiting on the next steps. Many of them have left their keys inside, their personal belongings. They ran away so quickly to try to escape any potential harm, so we're just waiting on more information from Yorkdale Mall and police, as well as this investigation continues. I'll send it back to you for now.
All right, thank you, Christy. And I should just add that Yorkdale says that the mall will be closed until at least tomorrow for the
Imagine the fear and panic and chaos. And we got a tweet here from Don Data tweeting, stuck inside the Yorkdale Mall after shots rang out. A lot of panic and worry earlier, but everyone calm. Don also attaching a picture to that as the mall is being evacuated about what they saw and heard. Here's a sampling of what we heard from some shoppers today.
It happened basically in the area of Starbucks and the Dej. We were at the Arc'teryx store, and that's when what we heard what sounded like 2 gunshots. Although when we heard that, everybody started scrambling, and we were looking for somewhere to go, and the only thing we could think of was to get to the back of the store. We all about